Well, it's that time on a Friday evening when we gather a few friends in the studio, we open a few phone lines down to the Cape, and we taste a bit of wine. And this evening we are tasting some gems from one of South Africa's most prestigious and award-winning wine estates. The estate is Ataraxia, and I believe we have winemaker Kevin Grant on the line.
John, good evening, and good evening to all your listeners.
Kevin, a very warm welcome to Classic Business. Before we have a chat with you, I just want to make sure that we also have our own wine guru, Michael Olivier, on the line from Cape Town.
He's here. Hello, John. Hello, listeners.
Hello, Michael. And just for your benefit, Kevin and Michael, in the studio we have Mark Ingham from Ingham Analytics, Tony Twine from Econometrics, Leo Koch from Motor Built, and Mike Schussler from TSEC, all of whom know a lot more about wine than I do, and will be taking part and joining in our tasting. But first of all, Kevin, tell us about the name Ataraxia. I see from the Platter Guide it means a serene state of freedom from worry and preoccupation. Now, I think we could all do with a bit more of that.
Well, absolutely, John. And, I did perchance stumble upon the name in as humble a publication as the Collins Pocket Dictionary. And when I read what it actually meant, it just came out to me that it really does encapsulate and embody what wine should do for us as human beings, not to us as human beings. And, it just changes a ordinary occasion into a special occasion, and a special occasion into an extraordinary occasion. And I just thought it was a good name for wine. It was a good name for what we try and achieve in life. And, it came naturally almost.
Okay, that's why you named the estate what it is named. But what are you trying to achieve with your wines?
John, well, I think a lot of the listeners will probably be aware of and familiar with the term terroir. Terroir is a French term. It's coined to try and express the impact that soil and weather conditions have on a grape, and the character that the grape then gets from the conditions that it grows in, and that's translated eventually into wine. And for us terroirists, I think it's about trying to get the soil, as it were, into the bottle with as little input from ourselves as possible, from us as winemakers as possible. So we really are just, in a sense, glorified midwives who try to get the character of the soil into the bottle.
And where is your midwifery centre sited? I believe it's Walker Bay. That's just off Hermanus, yeah?
Yes, it's just outside of Hermanus in the Hemelnade Valley, which is probably one of the most beautiful wine-growing valleys in the country, and it's probably in the world. And the great thing about the valley is that it has this absolutely incredible amount of diversity of soils, and these soils impart the character to the wine that we're eventually looking for. And, it's almost like when you do look for a piece of land to grow grapes on, the terroir is almost the thoroughbred with which you one day hope and aspire to win the Kentucky Derby on. Now, if your soil translates into donkey, then you can pull it up till it rattles on performance-enhancing drugs. It still remains a donkey and has very little chance of winning the prize money. So soils are very important, and that's why the Hemelnade Valley, for me and for every producer in the valley, is special. It's because of that.
Well, I don't know, Kevin, whether you won much prize money, but certainly it was a great delight for every South African that you thrashed the Aussies and New Zealanders in the 2008 Tri-Nations Wine Challenge with your Chardonnay, bringing the trophy home to South Africa. Also, if I've got my research right, you got 5 stars in the Platter Guide, and for your 2007, which we're tasting this evening, and it's the highest rated Chardonnay in there. So you must be very happy about that.
John, when us as winemakers are sort of toiling away in the wee hours of the morning during harvest, and it's only, I suppose, emergency staff that are also on duty somewhere in the country in those dark hours, it's very easy to feel quite lonely and quite lost. And this kind of accolade and this kind of recognition is really important for us, not just for me, but I think for every winemaker to have something like that. And we have really ended 2008 on a bang. 2005 was our maiden vintage, and it's come all very quickly, and I'm very grateful for that. And it's been very, very rewarding. No less so than having beaten the Aussies and the New Zealanders at their game. They're very competent with Chardonnay as well. I mean, you have people like from Australia, Vas Felix, Lewin Estate, Oak Ridge. You have from New Zealand, Kumeya River, Craggy Range, Cloudy Bay. These are iconic labels, and to have put them at the post was not just great for Ataraxia, it was great for South African winemaking, and we were really pleased about that.
Okay, well, I think it's time to bring in Michael Olivier. Michael, why don't you talk us through these two wines? And first, I assume you'd like to start with the Ataraxia Chardonnay 2007.
I was saying to Kevin just before we came on air, I mean, this is just such an amazing wine. It to me is like he's taken a piece of marble like Michelangelo or Rodin and just turned it into the most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work of art. I mean, it's got the most incredible aromas. It's got a sort of, I was trying to work out, there is some grapefruit there, but I can get some granadilla. So if you could imagine a grapefruit and granadilla curd, there's some lovely smells of camellia and what's the gardenia. There's lovely ripe pears. There's toasted nuts, and they all sort of just join together with this full palate, which is just so graceful. The acidity, I find beautifully soft, but it's there and keeping the wine wonderfully fresh. And there's a lovely sort of minerality to it as well. And I think Kevin's achieved this by the sort of the batonnage that they use, where they use a wooden batten and stir up the lees in the barrel, which he's done for over 10 months in these beautiful Burgundian oak barrels. I just really think this is an absolutely sensational wine. Of course, it's got a wonderful length, too, complex, full, stunning.
Tony's wine.
A word from the proverbial donkey that was mentioned earlier. Yes, the wine is beautifully complex, and the longer it's in your mouth, even after you've swallowed, the aftertaste remains in the front of the mouth, and I'm getting, amidst all those tropical things that Michael was talking about, on the aftertaste, the little bits of deciduous fruit, and I can't tell you which deciduous fruit it is, but it ceases being tropical after you've swallowed it, but lingers with a lovely deciduous flavor. And I agree wholeheartedly, there's an earthiness, and I guess this is the soil that the winemaker's trying to put into the bottle.
Leo Koch, we don't need too many further fruits if you don't want to. Just, are you enjoying it?
Well, John, we recently had the privilege of test driving a Maserati, and it's less in your face than a Ferrari. I'm talking from what I know, and this wine reminds me of that. It leaves a lasting impression. It's fantastic.
Mike Schussler?
Well, I agree with Michael. I'm just a bit worried I can't smell the smell the nuts. So I'm probably not a good person on the smell side because I smoke. But certainly it's a very, very great white wine. I must say it's one of the better ones I've ever tasted.
Mark Ingham?
Grapefruit hits me, and it does persist on the tongue. I think Kevin has created nirvana here, which I guess is a word not too far from the Greek origins of his wine.
Well, Kevin, are you disappointed that everybody seems to hate your Chardonnay?
Terribly, John, terribly. What's great about it, I think, and I think it's borne out by the comments of the gentleman, is that it is a style that is more, I would suppose, old world than it is new world. So it has more chiseledness and definition than perhaps some of the new world styles, which I quite often like to refer to as sort of bright orange, untailored tracksuit styles that you really get half a glass of and you can't take any more. And I think the understatedness of it is a style of wine that we see increasingly coming to the fore in the cooler climates of the country, and it is the style of wine that I think will convert people back to Chardonnay and try and get that ABC club to have fewer members than it currently does.
Okay, well, now let's try the second of the wines, which is a red blend, Serenity. Michael, what do you make of this one?
Well, he's a cheeky fella because he's not telling anybody what the grapes are. So you need to look at the wine as a wine style, and it's just for me got absolutely everything in it. It's got a most amazing nose, which just sort of shouts excellently handled fruit, wonderful berries. There's some minerals there as well, but I can't quite work out exactly what they are. And again, lovely soft tannins, but they're there, and it makes it, for me, it makes it such a stunning food wine because the tannins are sort of gently drying and makes you then want to take another mouthful. There's wonderful, wonderful spice, and again, it just lasts and lasts and lasts. I think this is a great, great wine.
Mark Ingham?
Yeah, it's quite right, being a little sort of secretive. I'm sensing Merlot Cab, possibly, the strong sort of berry notes. I find it extremely supple, very fine scent, superb wine.
Mike Schussler?
I think the tannins are very low, so it's certainly tastes a lot older than it probably is. I'm not sure what year it is, but
it's a 2006.
Well, that for a red wine is very young, and it's certainly hasn't got that tannin type of thing and that acidy tone of it. And I'm likely to say the following, because I drink a bit more red wine by choice, but sometimes one has to drink white in the warm weather. I prefer this to the white by miles, but I think it's a brilliant wine.
Tony Twine?
I think it's lovely. I think it's gentle. I think it's beautifully balanced for a 2006 red, just 2.5 years old. And my guess is, I know it's not the base, but I guess there's some Ruby Cab in this one.
Leo Koch?
John, lovely lasting taste. I really enjoy it.
Kevin, can you tell us what's in this, or is it a trade secret?
John, it is, I suppose, a trade secret in a way, but why I don't say what is in the blend and what grapes I've used is because, for me, grapes varietals are really just vehicles to express sights, and when you do know what's in a blend, then many of us tend to try then and search out for the cassis of the Cabernet and the spiciness of the Shiraz if those two grapes were in the blend. And so you kind of deconstruct a blend instead of actually looking at it as a whole. And what I do like about not knowing what's in the blend, and not even my wife knows what's in the blend, is that you're then forced to confront what you have in your hand. And there's something rather refreshing about that. And I refuse to underestimate the intelligence of wine drinkers in the country. And I think it's an attempt to try and whisper style as you do find in the great classic wines of the world, rather than shouting brashness because I've used some or other winemaking excess. This wine really does prioritize weight, rather does not prioritize weight and concentration, but more balance and definition. And I like that. I like the idea of great wines not battering the palate, but seducing it. And that's the idea with this wine. I think it was Tony who said that there was some Ruby Cabernet in. There is none, but if I was to then, by process of elimination, I'd be giving it away eventually. But that's what I'm about to say about the wine. But the real idea is stylistic leaning towards the old world, where it's about balance, finesse, elegance, and length, rather than bigness, boldness, brashness that you so often find in some of the new world.
Well, many thanks to Kevin Grant from Ataraxia for introducing us to two excellent wines this evening, and to Michael Olivier for talking us through them, and of course to all our studio guests. From me, John Fraser, technical engineers Pete Buerta, you're not Mane, are you? And Lavoyo Umdeni, and producer Masechla Gwangwa. Thanks for your company. Stay tuned for the news with Dino, and then the Internet Economy with Ruben Goldberg, and we will see you again next week for Classic Business.